Gotta put my glasses on for this. Mostly because I'm blind, but you know. I am refusing to say, my name is Marie, and this is Martian Creations, and welcome to my channel. Not gonna do it. I just did, but I'm not gonna do this all the time. But welcome, since you're here. As promised in my last video, today I am going to show you how to use a Happy Jig. This is what it looks like. Next, I'm going to show you what it does. We are going to unbox it, and then we are going to play around with all the little tools that comes with it. We're going to look through the instruction manual, and we're going to do a project that you can actually wear and sell.
All right, so this is my Happy Jig. As I mentioned, it's by We Are Memory Keepers. Never heard of that company, but this whole contraption looks pretty cool. Get a little cutter with it. They give you some wire and such. They give you like 2 different kinds of wire. Okay. All right, I guess they give you 2 pieces of plastic to cover it. All right. So, yeah. So you got this cute little cutter. I like the handles on them. They're very plushy. Like they're non-slip. That's pretty dope. So you also have these random wires, which are really cool. And we can use our wire wheel to see what gauge it is. So we're looking at and it's very, very I don't know, it's like thinner. To me, it feels thinner than the average aluminum, but let's just find out what the gauge of it is. So we're looking at, I got 16, 15, 14. So these are 14 gauge wires that come with it. That's pretty cool because that's really big. Oh my God, you guys, but you guys, look at this. This right here. This basically is telling you you can do whatever you want with this using this jig thing. I am so excited about this. I can't contain myself. And this is one of these things that I've had in my drawer for, oh my goodness, I can't even begin to tell you how long I had this in my drawer. It's just sitting in there and I'm like, yeah, I'll use it one day. But I should have opened it and look at it. Oh my God, look at this cup of coffee. Oh my God. So basically it's just telling you all the things that you can do. Look at this camera. You have these little directions, and it actually probably is going to tell you, ooh, okay. So what's really cool about this is that not only do they give you the instructions on how to make different things, they tell you where to put the wire in this jig thing. And you're like, where to put the wire? That doesn't make any sense. Where to put the pegs and all that stuff. It tells you all that stuff. So let me show you what I mean. So just look at this magical thing. I love the way they packaged this, even with the 2 pieces of plastic. Okay. Oh my goodness. So apparently, I think, can you put your wire? There is so many different things that they could be so small, but it makes me so excited to look at. They give you a little spot to put your little wire cutters in. How cute is this? It just holds everything in. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna put my hand behind it so you don't see through it. And as you can see, we have letters on this side, and then we have numbers along the top. Something tells me that this is going to be pivotal. So on the back little card here, it says this easy to use jig makes wire working a breeze. Simply you need to learn how to read. Anyway, simply wrap wire around the pegs to create fun embellishments for cards, scrapbooking, planners, jewelry, and more. Yay. And you can use these templates in order to create the exact thing that is in the book, and it actually is telling you where to put everything. Then they also said that there's over 100 design templates available in the instruction book, which we have here, and on Instagram. Follow us at We Are Happy Jig. Okay, I like them. And it also has this little picture here of someone using a 3D pen. Don't get me on these 3D pens. I just might have to get one. So yeah, I'm gonna start looking into this direction book, and we are going to do one of the projects in here. So I examined the book, I looked through it to see basically what all the parts are. So this is what I ascertained. Is that the right word? Yeah. All right, so this is what I determined. There is different little pegs in here. I believe there is 4 different pegs. All right, so you have these 4 different pegs here. So of course you have the different sizes, and then there's 2 that are the same size, and then we have this really tiny one. Okay, so the 2 that are the same size, one is flat on the top and one has a little groove in it. So the one that has a little groove in it, that's where you're going to be putting the first peg. This is going to be the first peg where you will put your wire through this little groove. I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so now that we ascertain what the different sizes are, so I went through the different directions and I looked at it and I said, oh, okay, they actually tell you, for instance, the easiest way to explain this is by doing an example. So I'm going to try to find an example that's easy. I did this one. It was pretty difficult. So it'll be hard to explain. So let's do this arrow. Even though I kind of think that you can do an arrow without this thing, but to explain it, I think I want to do this as an example. As you can tell from this example here, you have your little, representation of your different pegs. Even at every little corner is a peg. And then you notice this little symbol right here, this little peg, you could tell that it is that little groove peg. So we're gonna say that that is our first peg. So I'm gonna set that aside. So on the bottom, they have the different sizes that you're going to be using for this particular shape. And they actually give you, it says you need 0 of these big pegs. So we're not even going to be using these big pegs because it actually says 0. And then right here is the middle size peg. You're going to need 6 of those. And then it tells you on the grid where to put those pegs. Same thing with the smaller ones. They give you how many. You're going to need 3, and they tell you where to put those pegs on the grid. And they actually show you the grid. Either you can look at the grid and try to put them where they're supposed to be, or in my case, I'm just going to look at the letters and the numbers. So our first peg is going in F21, and then H13 and H28, and so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to start putting these pegs in here using the words at the bottom. So I know that I'm not going to use these big pegs, so I don't have to count out any big pegs. So I'm just going to pull out one of these. Then I'm going to get 5 of the middle size ones. 5, 6 altogether, except for one of them has a little groove in it. Then for the little ones, we only need 3 of the little ones, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to start putting these pegs into the grid according to what they're telling me here, and I'll show you what it looks like. What I like to do is I like to close this so I'm not getting little pegs everywhere. So one thing that I did find that was a little bit difficult when you put a peg in here, it's really hard to get them. Some of them you can take out very easily, but there are some that do not come out as easily. Like you can't pull them out. So what I have found is if you take it and you pop it upside down, you can see it's all open and you can see the little pegs poking through. So you can always just push the pegs from behind and it will pop right out. That's how you can easily get the pegs out if you need to, because they're very hard to pull out. I'm going to follow the diagram here. This right here is like if you want to take this and turn it into a paper clip type thing. So let's do that. Okay, so even though it says that, you know, this is what you would eliminate if you don't want the paper clip. If you do want the paper clip, you include that. So we're going to include the paper clip part. But I just feel like this wire is just not strong enough for a paper clip, but what do I know? It's saying that I'm going to be placing it and starting it right here. So let's do that. Interesting. A little peg fell out. Okay. This would be an issue. Why would I need that as a starting? Okay. So I have a little arrow here now. It's just one of those, once you get the shape, then once you get the overall shape of it, then you should be fine. So you could just start pulling it off. And then you have a little arrow. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it with their little handy dandy little cutter thing. Boop. And then I'm just going to sharpen some of these angles that I have to make it look like a legit arrow. So, in my opinion, I'm like, it's alright. But of course, I'm just starting out with this. I will say that it's really fun that, you know, with these other little shapes that they have in here, it looks pretty legit. It's very easy to follow, and I can't wait to do more with it. Y'all. Alright, let's try this camera. So I'm going to take these pegs out. Let me show you how hard or easy it will be. I'm going to just push on them from the other end. So now all these pegs come out. All right, so I'm going to start putting these pegs in this grid according to what the diagram says. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at it and just start wrapping this around. So this one does call for the beginner peg. Now I can see the beginner peg and like how it's supposed to be, and make sure that the slit is going across like this one. Then I'm going to just pop it in there. and it's tight enough where I can just wrap it in between this. It's a little tight in my opinion. I don't know, you guys. They act like there's more space there, but there is not a space there. So I'm just gonna wrap this around. Okay, I'm gonna need you to stay straight. Okay, you're straight enough. Okay, go around the edges. Tight, in my opinion. These are super tight. All right, so I'm going to cut the wire right here. Boop. And then from here, I'm just going to start popping this off. So I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to tighten up these edges. So it's a pretty legit looking camera type thing. I don't know how close it is to the actual image, but it's close enough. See, that's the thing about how thin this wire is that was given into the kit. It's very, very thin. I can like squish it very easily and move it around. You know, it's like hardly any muscles being moved to move this around. So I don't know. That's when, from my last video, either you take your anvil and let's squish it down and see what happens. Grab my anvil and I'm just going to do a little bit of tapping, hopefully. I would definitely highly encourage you to get an anvil and tap this out, because now it's stronger than it was before. So, because it's aluminum, so of course it's hollow inside. So get your little anvil, tap it out, and it's strong. So whatever you create using your Happy Jig, it will be strong. So I'm highly impressed now. So I had to do it a couple times in order to figure it out, but I got a little camera. Don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Don't know. But I got a camera. And that's dope. Okay, so we're gonna try this again. We're gonna try and make the same with the camera. But this time we are going to take our wire, and instead of starting from the end and just wrapping it around and ending it, we are going to start with a long wire. So I'm thinking that I might start with about 13 to 15 inches. So I'm gonna say this is about 15 inches. So I got myself a nice long string, and I'm gonna start with the long string, and I'm gonna start wrapping the jig according to the directions that are given to me, but except that I'm going to start with a very long wire and I'm just going to let this hang. Okay, so I'm going to start as if this was the beginning of the wire. Okay. So now we basically have our general camera shape. So I'm going to take them off of here. And so from here, because this is where I ended, I'm going to cut the wire. And basically what I did was I doubled the wire up a little bit. I doubled it up. So I'm going to cut it right here. Set that aside. And we're going to fix that later on. But for right now, we have our camera shape. This is kind of the beauty and the curse of having and working with aluminum wires, that you could just bend it to shape with your hands. So that's really easy for now. So now from this point, I'm going to grab my anvil. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap it out so that I can get myself some strength to this shape, so that I'm not going to be able to mess up the way this shape is. So if I start tapping it out, I'm taking away the hollowness of this aluminum and I'm making it stronger. All right, so now that I added some stability to my camera shape, next I'm going to grab my ring mandrel, and with my ring mandrel I am going to stick to a size 7. And so I'm also going to look at this real quick to see wherever I have my string coming out, where it's where my ring is going to sit. Okay, so that's good. All right, so at my size 7, I'm going to start wrapping this. So I wrapped it once. Now on my third pass through, I want to grab a little bit of this camera part just to give it a little bit more stability to this ring. So I'm just going to push the aluminum through the back here. Okay. So that I can get it over top of this ring and giving it more oomph, hold it in place. So we're going to go over top of this wire coming down here. And then we are going to go inside here just to give it a tighter wrap. There you go. So now we're going over top of this part that's going like this. We're going over there and we're grabbing it so that we can hold it in place and give it a little bit more stability. So looks like we did 1, 2, 3 passes around the ring mandrel. So I'm going to do one more. For good measure, just because I feel like it. Okay. We're going to do one more pass over top of this crossbar. Now that we have a shorter wire, it's easier. Okay. All right. All right. So this is my ring so far. Now I'm going to cut it right here. So now, as you can see, I have one cut here and I have one cut that I just did here. Okay. I'm going to take now and fortify this circle a little bit more. Hopefully I can. Okay, look at this. I'm going to cut this a little bit more so it could be more even. Okay, so my only complaint about this ring so far is that I have these two ends here. I want to fortify it a little bit more. So I am going to grab some 26 gauge wire. I am going to cut myself off a little piece here. I don't need it to be a lot. This little piece right here would suffice. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to assess what wires I am going to cover, or what wires I am going to wrap together so that they don't move all over the place. All right. All right, so I assessed that I was going to catch a couple wires here. It's very hard for me to show you, but all I'm doing is just making it a little bit stronger so it's not moving all over the place for like no reason. So I'm just going to do a very loose wrap. So I wrapped it across and around a couple wires. It's going to be so wrapped in there you're not going to be able to see it. I just want to make sure that I don't have a wire that's loose and it's scratchy and catching onto things. So all I'm doing is just doing a real quick, just wrapping it around. Okay. And then what I might do, let me get these wires close together, and then I'm going to take that little twist and I'm just going to twist it. Twist it. And twist. And just that action of twisting it broke it off, so that's good. And then I'm going to pinch it down so that it can't bother me or snag on my clothes. So there you go. And that is how I finished that ring. So there you go. I used the jig in order to make a little camera ring. Or you can make camera earrings. That's up to you. Yes.
Like I said, some of it was good, some of it was bad. Little points that I found with the Happy Jig that didn't really make me too happy. I found that sometimes when I would be trying to wrap around some of the pegs, some of the smaller pegs would pop out, but then some of the larger pegs are like, you have to get pliers in order to get them out. That don't make no sense to me. But other than that, once I figured out how to take the pressure off those pegs that kept popping out, the sky's the limit. I was able to make a lot of things with it, and I was able to make a ring. So you can make rings, you can make earrings, you can actually control, whoa, no, that's not gonna work. You can actually control what product comes out of your Happy Jig by giving yourself extra wire to work with, extra wire to do a loop with, so you can make earrings out of it. Giving yourself some extra wire so you can wrap it around your ring mandrel, whatever. Sky's the limit. As long as you can figure out how to take the pressure off the pegs, then you can make anything you want to. So I hope this video was very helpful for you, so that you, if you decide that you wanted to get a Happy Jig, now you know how to use it. Of course, I put everything in the description box below. And also, this is not a promotional video. They didn't pay me to do this. It just so happens that somebody gave me a Happy Jig and was like, here, you want to use it? And I was like, sure. And then I stuck it in a drawer. But so this is not a promotional video. No, not at all. Anyway, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, give any of your comments as to any suggestions on how to use the Happy Jig in such a way that the pegs are not popping out all over God's creation. And like I told you before, make sure, even though you may click that subscribe button, you may not be getting the notifications that let you know that I created a new video. So that's when you need to hit that little bell notification below. And when you hit that bell notification, that doesn't help me, it's helping you, so that I'm not over here creating videos and you over here like, this video is 2 weeks old. That's how YouTube works. It's like you love YouTube, but then sometimes you're like, I don't really like you. So hit that bell notification. All right, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.